Starting to go live. And
Oh, that mug show live on
just
my
waiting for
end
it to let me
already.
go live on Instagram.
Oh, I'm sure like that mug show live
For
on my end
Instagram?
already. Nah, I ain't looked at Instagram. I can't because I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone where I got the app on.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, it's on there. It's on there. Okay. All right. Another live with Brandy Yates. Um, excuse the lagging. Please excuse the lagging. Okay, if anybody is watching. How you doing, Brandy Yates?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Per usual, ready for this conversation. We've been missing in action for a couple of times, couple of weeks or whatever. So I'm just ready to dive into it.
Look, I haven't even been able to. I got stuff I haven't even been able to edit and post at all. I haven't even been able to edit just my regular stuff. I've been getting beat up, but I'm a do some stuff tonight. But had some long weekends, and
Mm.
yeah, so I need to put some stuff out there. I haven't even been able to. Like I said, I just start like the past couple of days start looking at threads and stuff again, just looking at stuff, but I haven't even been on it like that like for real, for real. I'm normally looking for stuff to talk about, content and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I need to get
that's
back
how
to it.
life goes. That's how life goes.
Yeah. Oh, hold on one second. Okay. Okay. All righty. So the first topic I wanted to dive into, I've been reading stuff online and seeing people talk about the different ideas on how stuff all this works. Everybody's the expert, and I saw someone talking about it in one of the posts on threads. Where did you learn this from? Like, where did you learn these ideas from? And I thought, like, that's an interesting. I thought that would be an interesting thing for us to talk about. Since we give advice, and since you um, our accountability coach and help people doing coaches in your services. I just figure, like, where did you get, not even necessarily um accountability, but like, just the mentality that you have when it comes to dating or relationships or healing or just moving forward with another person.
Mhm. Anybody that's listening, let me tell y'all, there are some things you cannot get via school. You cannot get a degree in this. Can't no teacher teach you this. Can't no seminar teach you this. Can't no books, well, partially teach you this. You know how we get this education? Life. Learned lessons, failed lessons. It's just a matter of what am I going to do with this? Am I going to use these failed lessons, these failed mistakes, and am I going to be bitter in it? Am I going to drown in it? Or am I going to use it to better myself? A lot of times we talk about healing journey. You can't go on a healing journey if you ain't never went through nothing the way you need to be healed through.
Mm.
So life, that's where I get my education. Now, legally, to be able to have clients, I got to go to school. I got to get a certificate or, pay for them EINs and stuff. Now, legally, I got to do that part. But as far as the mentality and the mindset, that's a growth journey. That's an accountability journey. And I'm a firm believer you can learn this stuff through observation. You don't have to go through everything to learn it. Some people are wise enough to know that, hey, I grew up knowing the stove is hot. Baby, I ain't got to touch it to know it's hot. I done seen other people get burned by touching a hot stove. So I'm going to sit my little tail on over here and I'm going to just watch. And I'm going to learn the lesson indirectly. I feel like it's like people think indirect lessons, well, that ain't about me. That ain't my business. We mind our business when we shouldn't.
Mm. So what makes
No,
so what makes you choose to like? So what would you say to that person who has that mentality of, well, that don't necessarily apply to me, and what's different for you that you say, oh no, I need to pay attention to that.
you got to be willing to be a student of life. So just because it doesn't apply to me does not mean I can't learn from it. There's a lesson in everything. I don't have to be the one that is hurting. Like for me, I've never been through domestic abuse from a partner. But guess what I learned from that lesson? I learned, hey, if he calling me a B word or if he getting angry in the beginning stages, no, 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 that might end up being a domestic situation. So it's that's what I tell people. It may not be you, but there's still lessons to be learned in other people's situations. So either you're gonna be a student of life, you gonna put them little, lessons in your little purse pocket or, your little jean pocket for the men or whatever y'all carry and keep those lessons. Either you're gonna put that there and you're gonna store it for whenever you need it for advice to your daughter, your son, a cousin, a stranger, a friend, co-worker, whatever. Either you're gonna keep that and store that for when it's needed, or you're just gonna be what I call the blonde friend. Blonde as in her. Like you just dizzy in life. Like you just don't know nothing walking around here.
Hey, that's true. Hey, some people like that. Some people like, hey, I ain't, if I ain't going through it, it don't apply. My nose is in the air. I don't see any of that stuff. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it makes sense though, like what you're saying. And I just want to piggyback off that and just, I agree with that, what you're saying. I think that's where a lot of the, insight I feel like I have come from is just really paying attention to people. And, I mean, outside of just me being interested in relationships and the dynamics of men and women and how they work and, beliefs behind that, I feel like, one thing that made me successful was, definitely what I believed about dating and marriage and love and how it evolved over the years and
Mhm.
just really I used to think love was this thing, and then I fell in love. I was like, oh, this is where people are messing up. I get it now.
Yep.
And then you get married and you like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why things happen easily, so easily,
Mhm.
you know.
Yep.
But definitely, not being afraid to challenge my beliefs and really dissect, okay, so if this makes sense this way, why do people go left? Or, why do people make this decision or that decision? Just really challenging, like, a lot of stuff. Just to give an example, like, I know people say that you got to go through your uh, the whole phase, right? It's like you got to get out there and go crazy, and hey, people believe that that's what you should do, but I always felt like, I always compared it to like getting fit. Like, I don't think anybody says, I want to get fit one day, so let me eat everything crazy in life that I can eat right now and gain all this weight and then try to get fit. It just, that never made sense to me. So now I'm not going to be out here in the streets, what I'm saying, going crazy because one day I need to get that out of my system first before I get married. And I was like, no, that don't even make sense. Like, the logic doesn't make sense at all. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice. And that's not even to say that, some people have done that and been able to being committed, but it ain't the likelihood of you just jumping from that to commitment is it ain't, what I'm saying? That ain't no easy feat. You
No,
know what I'm saying? So
no, that's no. I don't even understand why that's the blueprint, especially when you got the argument having between men and women of the men can do it, but women can't. Men can have multiple people they messing with, and women can't because we get called HOESs. Yeah, That's just one of them what double standards that ain't gonna go away. So why would you, knowing that this is what society is going to label you, why would you say or try to teach other women, well, you got to go through the whole phase? No, you. What is it gonna do? Matter of fact, if I find this post, I'm going to send it to you because I don't know what day I posted it, but I'm sure it'll come up in my memories on Facebook whenever it come up. I'm gonna send you a post where I ask that question. And the
Mm,
amount of comments on there and the logic behind it, I was like, huh? Well, what's the problem? Well, what? No, what I asked was, what? Why do you feel we have to? What benefit is it?
mm,
Nobody could answer that question. It was a bunch of, you know how we get in conversation. It was a bunch of thrown off conversations and people projecting other stories that ain't had nothing to do with what the actual question was. Answer the question. What does the whole phase bring value to if you go through it? What value does it bring? It ain't gonna get you a man faster. It's gonna get your name out there and not in a good way, but it ain't gonna get you a man faster. So what value do you have by allowing any man, all these men, whoever man, access to what's supposed to be valuable?
that's so true. That's I mean, I feel like we definitely think alike when it comes to that because that's exactly what I'm asking. And then I look at the people around me. Every guy I know that had a whole phase got a child with a woman that he has hatred for. Okay, so when
Multiple,
you talk about
multiple.
what's the benefit and the result of it, I'm like, okay, everybody I know that did that got something that they regret out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, there's not one person that went crazy that don't regret it in some way, fashion, or form.
They won't tell you that though. They say, "Oh, I had fun with mine. Well, why you ain't in it no more? What happened? What stopped?" You know what I mean? Like, what's again? I didn't ask, was it fun? I said, what's the benefit? You know what I mean? It's like so people they say all kind of stuff to answer the question, but ain't really answering the question. But that's okay. You ain't gotta answer it. I know the answer. That's why you can't answer it. It didn't benefit you. It still leave
Mm,
you broken. It still leave you these. Because what shocks me is I'm 38, and to see women older than me talking about a whole phase, and I look at them. Y'all done been through multiple divorces. You ain't got a man now. Your post is bitter towards men. So tell me exactly what did the whole phase do for you? Hmm.
mm. That's look.
Can't answer
That
it.
could have been that could have been a topic by itself, I guess. 'Cause
I don't when that post come up. I don't know when because I don't know when I posted it. I know it wasn't this year at all, but when it come up in my memories, I'm gonna send that to you so you can read. Now that I see that you be on Facebook, so you can read them comments.
oh, for sure. Yeah, I know it's wild. I know it's wild. Yeah, but I mean, that just go back to what we're talking about though. Just thinking about stuff like that. Thinking in depth about stuff like that, and asking the question that nobody want to ask, like, what is the benefit? What is the results? You know, like, what do you get out of this thing? What do you get out of you know um, dating multiple people? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's a benefit. It's a benefit to it for a certain type of person. You know what I'm saying? But everybody don't need to do that. I don't feel like and then just really analyzing like, okay, I get what's out there. I get the information that's out there, but you know, uh, why do certain why does certain advice don't work for two different people? They might take it two different ways, and just thinking like that in those terms, and also being fully transparent while I'm dating. I'm asking these questions. I'm thinking about these things. I'm praying for insight. That was the main thing. After a dating experience for me, like, God give me insight on this. I don't care if it work out, it work out. If it don't. I just want to
Mhm.
learn from it at the end of the day. I just want to learn something from it. Also reading. I did read a couple books. I am
Mhm.
listening to different people on the subject. I used to uh, man, Ebony used to have is it Ebony or Essence? Ebony or Essence used to have like a relationship section every month, and they so I'm reading the Essence to see what they what the advice is, and they're like. Your homie's like, "What you reading Essence for?" I'm like, "Man, I got to just check out this section. Okay, this is the section I'm very interested in." But you're just looking at the different advice, and you know, different people who give advice and have written books. I got books that I ain't read at all, but yeah, just just trying to educate myself on a lot of different areas when it comes to dating and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, you said something important. You said questions. That's a part of it. When I say student of life, in order to be a student, you have to ask questions.
Mm,
I don't know anything, right? I don't know everything about life. I ain't been through everything. So I gotta ask questions. And you gotta be okay with I realized when I started realizing that no matter what, when, where, or how, you will be judged. So you gotta be okay with allowing yourself to be judged. It doesn't matter if you judge me. I know you're gonna do it. But I'm here to learn. I'm trying to see, okay, how do I avoid a man that's domestic? I'm trying to see, okay, because I know we're talking about relationships, but a big part of relationships is also other organizational skills like finances. Okay, well, how do I budget this money? How should I, what should I be working on for my credit score? So it's like it's other things that's valid when it comes to relationships and not just about feelings or falling in love. It's deeper than just that. How like what characteristics should I look for? Do my man got to be like your man, or can I define my idea of a
mm,
man or of a woman, and then I find that and we work together? So like you gotta ask like questions and be okay with being judged for those questions. And I stopped myself kind of early because I was like, well, books, because I did. I'm a reader. So when I started asking questions, I would Google, I would look up information through Google, I would look up podcasts, and I would look up books. I was self-training myself. So I got the certification to legally charge as a life coach, but that was a momentarily schooling for I forgot how many months I was in it. That wasn't a lifetime. So when I'm done with that, I'm still not done being a student of life. I still have to keep training myself for even how the times change.
mm,
Schooling,
mm,
that certificate didn't teach me on different personalities. You know what I mean? So it's like
mm.
I have to start learning different styles of everything and ask questions, educate myself so that I can be able to, give advice. And when people say, "Oh, you giving advice, but you ain't in a relationship, or you divorced, or you this," and I could take them darts, I could take it down to my little metal breastplate. It's gonna hit that and it's gonna bounce off. It's not gonna hit my heart because I got a mission. You know what I mean? I'm a student of life. I'm gonna keep going no matter how people judge me in my journey. So I don't know if I just got off, but yeah.
No, no, you said something important. You said, you know, times change, and that's a to me a important factor when it comes to you what you're saying, and being a student of life is being up to date on this stuff that you're helping, the education that you need to be up to date with, and making sure that you're paying attention to what's going on, and how things have changed. And that's something that I enjoy, at this point. This is why I know this is something that I'm passionate about, because I still enjoy watching the evolution of dating, and men and women, and the culture. Like, it's still enjoyable for me, even though it's crazy. It gets crazy out there. But
Mhm.
people are still meeting their persons. People are still getting married. People are still being able to function in dating without losing their minds. People are still out there and believing in this thing. And I think that's something to keep track of, because if you don't, you'll be reading a couple posts and think that it's really too crazy to be celebrated. And I feel like it's still a lot out there to be celebrated. It's still people uh, meeting each other, even though it's it's considered harder, which I I don't know how hard I can't say it's harder because I don't think I had it easy. Like I don't know if I had an easy time finding a person.
So I'm glad you said that because a lot of things. So I actually was just on a TikTok panel and I ended up having to get off. Like some of these conversations make my head hurt, and not in a way of like throbbing where I need Tylenol, but my head hurt as in like I get irritated and almost like disgusted with some of the top, like the way people think. And a lot of us are saying like, "Oh, is it so much harder than it was before?" How do you know though? You didn't experience before. You only heard what somebody said about before. You don't know if it was harder. But also in thinking that it was better before, you also understand, you got to understand when we're doing those comparisons, because we be doing a lot of comparing apples to oranges. You also got to understand we talking about women that also didn't have a lot of power, as in working a lot of hours, being the breadwinner, also going, school and working, also having a voice, because now we have a voice. We can say what we want to say, however we want to say it. You comparing yourself to harder than before with a whole different set of men and women who aren't even like you. So how do you know it's harder? We don't know that.
No, that's true. Like I didn't even think about it like that. You are different. These are entirely different types of people. Like I said, you have women that who have grown and evolved to a whole nother thing. You have men who have evolved into a whole nother thing. It's not the same group of people. I think the one thing that has changed is how we date and how we meet each other and all of that. But is it harder? I don't know. I can't say it's. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's. I'm not gonna say it was easier back then.
Mhm.
Like
I think
different.
easier might not be the word. It was something. It definitely was something. Easier might not be the word. I think it was more controlled because
Mm,
they didn't have
yeah,
the avenues that we have. They didn't have the access that we had. They had to just do what they had. There were no
yeah.
multiple choices. It was either this or it wasn't. So I don't even think easier was the thing. I think if they had the same accesses and the same avenues, transportation, not as in car, but the way we got to relationships. If we had the same thing back then as now, I think then we can compare if it's harder. But they were more controlled because they didn't have more as access that we have. So now it ain't really about harder. It's about, was humans ever self control? Did humans ever have boundaries? Did
Mm,
we was our choice taken away of who we will be with based on finances? Or, so it's like it's so many different things to consider when we talk about it being harder.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Because there weren't as the expectations were definitely a lot different. Definitely, like it what to me, like it wasn't like a bunch of different types of dates that you had to be aware of. Y'all just went on a you just went on a date. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a I didn't know nothing about coffee dates and what that means and you know
Texting,
text.
FaceTiming, social media, like
You know what? We FaceTime wasn't even a thing when I was dating. That wasn't even a thing. We used to have to get on Zoom. We had to not on Zoom. Was it Zoom back then? It was something back. No, Skype. Skype. You
oh
remember
yeah,
Skype?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. We used
yeah.
to get on Skype. If you want to see a person, you had to get on Skype.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that wasn't even around all the time. So that was even
No,
new stuff being introduced,
that's two
from back in the.
laptops. That ain't even two phones. That's two laptops.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, as it relates to the question with education, it's like, man, you just, again, student of life. You can't live. I always say you can't try to be or operate in being a modern person, but you want traditional, ways. Like you got to pick a side. You can't. I'm not now. You can blend them. Now that's possible, but it's I'm finding people don't want to blend them. It's like they want to live modern. They want to still have the things that modern women and modern men have, but they also want you to just be traditional. It's like you can't do that. You have to. Where's the middle ground? If you want your cake and need it to, then you got to create your own path and have your middle ground, or just live in modern world and figure it out.
Mm. That's so true. That's a lot of people. A lot of people think like that, and you can tell. A lot of people want, either want a modern relationship with some traditional stuff going on, or they want some traditional with some modern stuff going on. And it's just like, like I need to, like you say, either blend it correctly, or pick a side, pick whatever side you're gonna pick.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's why my brother. I know that's why my brother's single, because he want a traditional woman with some modern ways, and I'm like, you know, hey man, like I don't know. I didn't forget into that.
It ain't even just him. Like I know what you're saying though, because I'm watching the conversations. I'm watching the conversations. The panel I was just on before you. I'm just like, okay, here's the problem as an accountability coach, right? We got, and this panel was mainly women, and this is why I'm saying this only for women. We got all these women. Every conversation that they're having is it's always the man's fault or why women are like this, right? And I'm like, okay, well, if we know so much on why the men do what they do or why they do it, why we can't stop it? Like why we can't get ahead of it and in front of it before it happens again? You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, instead of us focusing on trying to hold men accountable, why don't we know with the knowledge that we know, the lessons that we learned, why don't we hold seminars and have conversations with women to help them get ahead of it or be accountable? Like us fussing at the men or even men fussing at the women and y'all need to do this, y'all do that. And we ain't got nowhere. It's like with the whole phase things. Okay. When we done arguing at each other, did we hear what each other said or was we just trying to see who was right?
That's that's a lot of reason why I can't engage in a lot of stuff like that, because I don't want to sit and argue about who right. You know, are we getting to some common ground? are we getting to like some understanding, or are we even do we even want that? Do we even want that thing to happen? You know, but I tip my hat off to you for being in those spaces, because I know
I'm
it ain't easy.
So when I say a student, it's like, and I end up leaving. I have a tolerance level. And my homeboy, he was the one that it was his panel, and he was like, "Man, so you really just be leaving people alone?" Yes. I listen. If you don't want to learn, I don't have to spend my time trying to convince you on why you need to hold yourself accountable. I don't need to spend my time trying to convince you on why you need to vet. Hey, it's your life, baby. If it's working for you, do it. I'm not stressed about it. I learned my lesson. I know my lesson. So it's like I don't want to be in this type of. So I sometimes sit in there. It's a learning lesson for me too as a coach. Seeing what's out there with the mindsets. I don't care that much to sit there in the arguments. Like either you gonna stay literate to life, or you gonna come on over here to the seat and grab you a seat so we can learn together, heal together, grow together. I'm not gonna force you to learn and grow. That's your life. That you can live it how you want.
That's and that's I think that's a good example of you being someone who should be giving advice, because you have learned lessons, and you're still learning lessons, and you're still trying to evolve in that area, and you see how many people aren't. You see the people who aren't, who just they have their beliefs, they have their mentality, regardless of if it's working or not. That they just they're gonna thug it out the whole way down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
This for anybody that wants to be a life coach or that wants to just do content with relationships, podcasts, and whatever. This is what I've learned, and this is what I would tell everybody going into it, whether you start a business or not. One thing you got to realize is that people learn to function in dysfunction.
mm,
So you cannot beat yourself up trying to make them grab it. The meat is on the table. You either gonna eat the meat or you gonna eat the bones. Either way, I served it.
Mm,
Hey, it's there. I can't force you to spit the bones out. You know what I'm saying? I can't force you to get out of dysfunction and learn how to function properly. People have learned to function in dysfunction, and that's just what it is.
mm. That's look. That's a good piece to take with you if you trying to come into this space, because you definitely can't be worried about some people might get. I put up posts. I'd be like, what? You got that from that? Like, how'd you get that from that? Like,
But I be seeing some of your comments, and I'm like, this his page. I ain't gonna say nothing because I had my first share of those type of people. I'm gonna let him do his thing. And then
hey, it
even on
don't.
threads, I see you comment to certain, stuff, and I just be like, I'm gonna let him do his thing. I ain't getting in it because
You know, I don't have a lot of like threads is great because I can comment on stuff. I don't get too much, too many people arguing with me on threads. I don't
mm-hmm.
even get too many people arguing with me on TikTok, but it's just sometimes some people just say some crazy stuff, and but I can't even take it serious. I'm like, sometimes I just delete a lot of stuff. Honestly, it's stuff you don't even
Really?
see. I
Oh,
delete a lot of stuff because I'll be like, "What
oh,
is you talking?" If I feel like it's not relevant to the post, it's not about let me be clear, it's not about you agreeing with the post. I would rather you disagree with the post so we can have some healthy dialogue.
yeah,
I love that, but
yeah.
you coming on if I'm saying something like get to know people first before you date them, and you just come on there and share a random story about how you got hurt. I'm cool. I'm deleting that. I don't need to. We're not talking about that. We're talking
Yeah.
about the idea, the concept of the video. That's it. Like I'm deleting that. I'm not going to keep that on there.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that because it's so relevant when we talk about where you get your relationship education. So a great part, everybody want to throw around communication, but we forget the comprehension part of it. We forget the listening part of it. So I like that you said that you delete those comments because listen, this is important. This is important when it comes to friendships, relationships, whatever. If we're talking about a certain subject, right? Don't bring up a thousand other things because that's never going to resolve this subject. You know what I mean? And people can't focus. It's like it's so much trauma within, it's so much hurt within. It's like you could say one word and all they heard was relationships or get to know somebody. That's all they heard. They ain't heard none else you said in the message. Not like, oh, I gotta tell you about this person I got to know. Well, no, we're not talking about that. And for me, okay, book a session and we could talk about that right now. This is what we're talking about. And so it's hard, like when you're the only one managing your page right now, it's hard to like when you see that you be like, that's not what I'm talking about, but okay, delete it, or just ignore it because if you get into that, now you done went somewhere else and now your post that you made now ain't even relevant no more because now everybody entertained with the tea of you and that person going back and forth on something else.
Yeah, he said it took on a life of its own in a whole nother direction. Like, but I get what you're saying. I try not to. I don't feel like I've went too far with nobody. I mean, if it ain't a relevant conversation, and then it's some crazy people on the internet saying some crazy stuff. It's like, oh, okay. Some of it I just be like, oh yeah, okay, that's right, you got it. But you know, I don't take it too far with that. It is what it is. But um, all right, I'm gonna jump into this next one, and let's see if we can take this thing on home. Okay, I saw a post, talking about, if it's 2 weeks, can you fall in love in 2 weeks? That's what it was. Can you fall in love in 2 weeks? And you know, man, first of all, it was very shocking. I don't get on, you know, men or women a lot, but it was a lot of women on this post that was like, yeah. I was like, dang, I never thought, ladies thought that at all. So I'm like, wait a minute, what?
You
And then,
ain't you ain't never so you ain't never thought women thought that at all.
I mean, maybe not in this generation, not in this generation for sure. But I don't know. I You know something I don't know, but I guess I never even would have thought it was majority women saying yes, yes, you can definitely fall in love in 2 weeks. Yes, like I'm like really, and I'm not even against people, falling in love fast per se, but I don't think every all of that is genuine. I personally, don't think all of it is genuine. So I posed the question. I said, okay, well, let me ask Brandy her thoughts on, is it genuine? Do you feel like it's that was the quick, that was the quickest no. What you got?
You're not gonna find too many women that say, I just had a baby just because I wanted to with this dude. I ain't like him or nothing. Most people have babies with people they in love with.
Mm,
Abortion, and this finna be crazy. I don't want to really get into it, but abortion is an option, right? If you don't want to be a single mom. A lot of people, a lot of women try to connect the baby to the man. And that is not how
mm,
that works. Men do not operate in feeling certain feeling like women do.
mm,
You don't have kids unless you're just reckless. Now, let me throw that out there because there are a lot of reckless people, men in general. I mean, men also, men included. But I find that people, when they get with people that they just adore, let's use the word adore so much, you start fantasizing about marriage with them. We start fantasizing about a family with them. When you get to that point, you have already fallen in love,
that,
and that
that's
happens in the beginning. That happens in the beginning. So it's like, why? Like what? No, you cannot. Look at the percentage of women that are made baby mamas. Look at the percentage of women that are in situationships. You cannot fall in love that fast. It's not genuine. I would
mm,
have to see somebody who fell in love in 2 weeks and they've been married so long, and I would have to interview them because I don't trust a lot of y'all. Like I don't trust y'all vetting processes. So I would have to interview them myself with my own questions to see the journey they went on to make it successful. Because no, that's too soon. It's called, remember that one panel we did? It's called love bombing. That's why it's
well,
easy to be love bombed. Two
mm,
weeks? What you
two
learn? What
weeks.
you learn in 2 weeks? Now, tell me that.
I don't know. Like I don't, and that's the thing. Like, what are you going off of in 2 weeks that you would say you feel love for this? I don't know, and I think it's like, how do you define falling in love with somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do
That's
you define? Because I don't know you well enough in 2 weeks to feel like I would die for you, stranger from 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I just that does not I can't do that. Okay. Now if we can fall in love in 2 weeks, can we share the bank account information
money.
in 2 weeks?
Come on, come on.
Can
Can,
we
can
do
we
that?
co-sign some cars and stuff for each other? Like, come on,
Let's go. If we going hard, let's go.
let's go all the way.
Let's let's go.
That's it's not possible. And that's the thing. Lust is so strong that we confuse it for love. And this is gonna be the argument I see a lot of people have. Well, everybody love differently. You're right, and that's the problem. Because you think love is falling is doing this in 2 weeks. So that's the problem. What vetting did you do? I'm big on vetting. I'm big on vetting. What vetting did you do? We know these words now, right? That has come up. We know love bombing. We know gaslighting. We know different forms of manipulation. We know all of this, right? What have you vetted or done to know that within 2 weeks this person ain't on none of that? They ain't got no side kids that's hidden somewhere. They ain't got a wife off in a cut, that they separated from right now. Like what have you done your due diligence to know that within 2 weeks I just love this person?
Mm,
I know what it is though. It's the obsession to find my person. That's the
mm.
favorite saying. I can't wait to
Yeah,
find my person.
that's good. Yeah,
And we
that's
hypnotizing ourselves.
yeah. That's I like. That's very true. A lot of people want that so desperately that they'll speed through the whole process just to get to that thing. Like I just feel like that's a recipe for disaster when you are in that mentality where you just gotta find your person. I
Oh,
just
it's
gotta
on my
find this person.
person.
Like it's I would never obsess with it like that because I already knew that for one, it's a process. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a process, and I'm a skeptic. I believe in look, I believe in love and marriage and people finding each other, and also I'm a skeptic. Okay, also okay, like do you really love me? Do you really love me for real? That's the first thing I would say.
And this is, I think also we base love off of feeling too much.
Mm,
When you ask somebody, why do you love them? Oh, they just treat me. I've never been treated like this. Okay, what does that mean? What do you mean treatment?
mm,
I ain't never had nobody buy me flowers or text me good morning and good night, and then every time I call, he answer. That's love. That- That's what you define as. That's it. That's the bar. It's like, and I'm like, okay, raise it a little bit higher because that's not love. Oh, and then he buy me stuff and I'm like, I be listening to some of these people and I'm like, that's the bar for you? Okay, yeah.
mm,
Yeah, and I thought mine was saved, and I thought that was it. God was gonna fix it, and I got slapped with God's sandal, like Jesus slapped me real good with that sandal too, and I ended up divorced. Like, raise the bar. You know what I mean? Just because you meet a new person that does something that the last person didn't do, does not mean that's
mm,
still a great person.
mm,
Again, love bombing, guys, it's a real thing. I see this post, I cringe when I see it. A person can treat you better or do you better in 2 months than a person can in 2 years or 8 years. I mean, of course, it's fresh. The butterfly stage feels real good, or honeymoon stage. That's what they call it. The honeymoon
mm,
stage feels real good. Yeah, 2 months, sure. Yeah, it's still fresh. It's like raise the bar a little bit more than that.
mm. So I beg the question. I beg the question. So is it? Do you feel like is there like a balance between raising the bar and having it so far up that you can't find love, that you
Hmm.
can't let nobody, that you can't fall in love with nobody because you waiting. What do you say to those people who waited? They gonna plan it out for years and they ain't in love.
They
You
got
like
a
I'm trying
checklist.
to.
And
They,
all the boxes got to be checked out. Now that's when I feel like it's too high. You mean all the boxes? Cause and then okay, where are these boxes coming from? Like what measurements are you using? Now that is when I feel like it's way too high. I believe in having
mm,
negotiables and non-negotiables. That's the balance in there. So of course, don't have your bar low, but you also can't have it too high where can't nobody get in. Because you done created
mm,
this, perfect sketch of a man. Nobody, we human. They got they men, I'm a woman into men. So men got their own things that they're dealing with, their own whatever men deal with, battling the world, battling am I man enough? Battling do I have enough money? They got they battling their own trauma, relationship past, whatever. They got their own things they dealing with. So you gotta leave room for human error. So
mm,
negotiables and non-negotiables. Everybody's negotiables and non-negotiables gonna be different. So I
mm,
don't believe in going off other people's lists. Like for you, Jasper, okay, you could say this is what's your list for your partner. I could be like, okay, three things on that list don't make sense to me. But guess what? I'm
mm.
I'm not looking for the party that you were looking for. You know what I'm saying? So your list don't have to make sense to me. It just got to make sense between you and the person that's meeting that list of
Mm.
negotiables or non-negotiables. You know. So
That makes sense. I never had a list. I never had like a list of things. And I don't knock nobody who does, but I just personally, I knew what I liked. I knew what I wanted. I knew who I was. I knew what I wasn't. Gonna be dealing with, but it wasn't on paper
yeah,
necessarily. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And plus, I wanted to be open. I want to pigeonhole everything into one. You know, got to do this because I
yeah,
can't even get into that. I got to get into some other stuff. To get to that. I don't want us to get too far off because I'm getting into like preference and stuff like that. But um, I do agree with you though. I feel like there has to be some type of balance. I believe there are people who have fell in love quick and got married, and they've been married for years. It happens. Okay, it definitely is a thing that happens, but I think you have to have a certain type of mentality, a certain type of relationship for to in my opinion, it's a gamble. Personally, I just feel like it's a gamble to just jump into something. And to me, if you really want to cultivate a healthy relationship, we don't need to jump into anything. Okay, that's me. That's personally how I look at it. Like, but even with that said, you know, man, I told my wife I loved her quicker than what I thought I would. I say that, quick, quicker than what I told anybody else. A lot quicker.
So I got a question to that too when you done.
Oh shit.
No, it's a general question that's gonna piggyback off of that.
Okay, okay. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it wasn't like it has to have some type of foundation under it, for you to, if your relationship evolves, it evolves. If you guys are talking about the things you should be talking about, spending the time that you need to spend, addressing the things you need to address, you got two open people who are more than willing to, be transparent about who they are. I feel like it can happen. I feel like it can happen. But then, like I said, on the flip side, like you said, you do have people who gaslight. You got people who are out there manipulating, and they trying to reel you into this thing, love bombing you, and you know and you want it so desperately that you don't even question any of it, like none of it, like
And you're gonna do whatever to stay. Whatever to hold on to it because you fell in love fast.
yeah.
I, so to that, and then I'm gonna ask you the question, but so to that, I think we also got to stop idolizing the idea of it because we'll say, "Oh, well, I know people who done it and they together however many years." Baby, guess what? Brandy know people too that done it, and I also know the stuff they went through to keep it. So if you want to go through what they went through to keep it, which was a lot of, I don't know how they made it through, then cool, do that. Take a gamble on the 2 week love. But I'm telling you, you're gonna go through what they went through because they didn't know that person. Neither one of them knew each other. You don't know. I like to say for learn people in every season of their life. You don't know when they mad, sad, happy, depressed, whatever. You don't know those things within 2 weeks. Again, like I said, you don't know if they hiding a baby on the way. You don't know if they hiding a wife, a husband. You don't know what's there. You don't know if they're done with their promiscuous stage. You don't know that. A lot of people I
Mm.
know who did start quick and they together long. Outside kids, a lot of cheating. So if you want to go through that, it's very possible to start to fall in love at 2 weeks. Yeah, go by all means. It's your life. Go ahead.
Hey, let me just say something to that real quick. Don't lose your thought. So I question when people say what you said, like what these people did it. Why do you need to do it just because they did it? Do you have to do it because they did it? Like I just question whenever you want to do it fast. If it happens to happen that fast, okay. But you're intentionally trying to do it fast. That don't seem very genuine to me. That don't seem like that's grounded in something real. Because you wanna move fast. Like I don't know. I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Yep, yep, I agree. And also this is all I have for you. So back to when you were saying you fell in love with your wife quicker than you thought you would. And you said I love you, quicker than you thought you would. So what do you think to the thought that when people say, um, well, how do you tell somebody, when something is too soon? I mean, when you know, you know. Because
Oh
it's
man,
always
that's
an
funny
argument.
how.
You can be making sense all day, but if somebody don't like it, they gonna always find some cliche saying to come back at you. Well, when you know, you know.
Man, I can only see that's what, that's actually a tough one to answer because I know everybody don't think like me, so I can't say you should do what you should know how I knew. You'd
Yeah,
have to be me to know that. You'd have to know my relationship with my wife. You'd have to know, what that looks like to know that. Because my knowing and your knowing two different things.
yeah,
You might think you know, and I might have knew I knew because I knew that I was a skeptic and I didn't believe that it was gonna happen like that, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Okay, that's why I knew I knew. Okay, because I wasn't trying to move fast. I wasn't trying to, I wasn't caught up in needing a person. I ain't never in life dated in a way that I feel like I need somebody. I was very much so happy being single and
mhm,
cool riding that train for ever long it went, and you might not be thinking like that. So I can't say that if you might not know. You might be, I have to know what that looks like for you to actually know if that's accurate or not. But to me, my thing is, if you don't never challenge it, I wouldn't go through with it. Like I challenged it. Like I challenged it. Okay, if this is gonna be real, all right. Let me have we gone through anything? Have we had a disagreement? Like how do we handle disagreement? How do we handle communication? How do we handle you know not seeing eye to eye? Like that's what I'm saying. Like I gotta know that you know those things to know that you might be right. But I just don't think it's a race at the end of the day.
mhm.
I don't think you're trying to get to love. I don't think falling in love is something you're trying to get to, if that makes sense.
Yep,
I don't believe that it's something that you're aspiring to get to in a relationship. If it
mhm,
happens, it happens. But I don't think that's something you're trying specifically to make the moves to get to that place. If that makes sense. I
yeah.
hope that's answering the question. I don't know
I,
if
I
it's
think
not.
no, you did. Nope, you did. You took it. Yep, you took it a different route, but you did. You answered it because as you were talking, what all I was thinking was, you're right. I can't tell you how you well when you know because yeah, I don't know what you know. So I can't affirm and confirm that for you to say, yeah, go be with them when you know you know. I can't be that person to do that. I feel like the only way you know when you know comes into play is when it's organic. If you forcing it, like what you said, if you ain't tested it, if you ain't been through nothing to see if you know that you know, it ain't organic. It's being forced and it's being manipulated. Like I tell ladies with dating and stuff like that, if you gotta tell him or fuss and argue, well, you ain't took me on a date yet, baby. That ain't organic. That ain't organic at all. You're forcing something to be something. So then if you gotta force that, you're gonna always be forcing something. So when you know, only when it's organic. That's how I would correlate that.
I, I definitely agree. That's actually a great way to put it. Yeah, if it's organic or not. You didn't have to you didn't have to manufacture the development of your relationship. You know, and that in itself, like I said, till you just said that, I didn't even really put it into words how that happened. For me, but that's exactly how it happened. Where it wasn't me trying to make it this thing. It just naturally progressed into the thing. You know, to the point where I had to stop fighting it and go ahead and let it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go ahead and let. All right,
Yeah.
like,
I'd
but
rather stop fighting it than to be trying to fight it. You know what I mean? Like, come on, pick me. Hey, I'm pretty. Hey, you don't like me? You don't want to take me on? Like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to force myself in to cook for you to show you I'm a good woman. I know how to cook. No, like just flow organically. And most time, if it ain't a organic flow, they gonna be up out of there soon anyway. But I feel like when we're forcing things, that's what makes us stay long, and that's why them situationships be happening. We be trying to force some stuff up in there. And then we find ourselves in situationships long talking about somebody played us. No, you had plenty of signs to leave. You saw it, y'all wasn't on the same page long time ago. Let it go. It ain't organic.
or you didn't want to see it. You didn't want to
Yeah.
see where you really had with a person. You didn't want
Yes.
to be honest about the reality of what you and this person have going on. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, that's you can stay for a long time because neither one of y'all want to have a conversation. Like,
Yes.
and I was always big on the conversation. Let's have a conversation, because if this ain't going in the direction where I wanted to go, or where I feel like we should be going, I mean, we probably need to stop there, right? I mean, what are we? Why are we still going?
Yep.
Like, why are we keeping this going? Like,
Yep.
can't be afraid to have that conversation and actually, make sure what you're going through is a genuine thing. Like, because if you ain't had these tough conversations, but you telling me you in love with a person, I mean, I can't put my money on y'all. Okay, I
Ain't
can't.
ain't wasting the time, baby. Ain't got nothing to say. Book a session. That's all I got to say. I ain't got no. Nope. Watch a
Well, I'm glad you took.
podcast. We talk about this all the time. Other than that, I ain't got nothing for you. No.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, I thought that was something that I would you know bring up, because, like I said, I'd never even we hadn't talked about that in depth. But like I said, I'm glad we did. Now you helped me learn something about my own self and my own journey in this thing. It's given me even more insight now. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, definitely make sure it's genuine. Like we said, we almost at an hour. So yeah, I appreciate you giving your time tonight. I'm still mad we didn't get into that other. We didn't get to touch that other one you got posted. But I ain't gonna take it personal. I
But
can't
hey,
monopolize your.
we got more. We got more days. Hey, we got through two. We got through two. So you know,
Yeah, I know. But that was a good one though. I was like, man, I want some of that.
keep it on there for next whatever Wednesday or Sunday or
Yeah,
whenever. Just keep it on there. So
for
hey,
sure, for
let's
sure.
touch it.
Yeah, like, I'm glad you can get. Like I said, I need to post some content. I've been a little quiet on social media, but I've been tired. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I got stuff coming though. Stuff coming down the pipeline that I think is pretty dope. So, you know, but
And I'm here for it. So sure. I'm following you on multiple platforms, so I'm gonna be here for it. So
I think the next one we do, I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna just try TikTok. I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna set it up because I need to do more TikToks.
okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think I'm gonna set it up for TikTok, just to see if it's gonna let me add you as a guest now. Because
Okay.
TikTok always sending me stuff like, yeah, you've gained this now, you've gained that now. I'm like, I,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what to do with none of the stuff it give me though. Like, and then it's offering things like, yeah, go live. Like, yeah, I want to go live, but I can't talk to nobody. I don't want to be on there talking to myself. Like, I don't, I don't want to just be on there. But you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yep. I feel you. TikTok cool. We sure been abandoning it. So I'm with you. We can do that and then shoot, I still can't say maybe I can because I can't do TikTok on my laptop, but I can do it on my phone. So I can save the nope, I can't because I still can't send you the video. So we still can't go live on my platform until I clear that space up. Dang. Okay,
that's all
so
right. I think I need to do more on mine anyway. You know, I
yeah,
need to do a
yeah,
lot more on mine. That's the way I'm in, you know, enjoying that we do stuff on mine.
yeah,
'Cause like I said, I just need to put more stuff out there. You know,
yeah, yeah.
and
Okay.
then I need to do stuff with the. Don't think I haven't. I've you know I do plan on doing stuff with our other videos and clipping them up and all that. Um, I just need to do it. It's not a lot of time that I got, but
You,
I'm a make some space. I'm
you
gonna
know
make some,
you know I understand. I
yeah,
understand like about hey, I you see I ain't pressing you because hey, I get it. I know how
yeah.
time get. So
But look, I tap into look at stuff every once in a while. I'm like, man, that's good. I gotta get this done. But it's
yeah.
all it's all good. But yeah, I appreciate you giving me your time tonight, Brandy Yates, and you know, like I said, I see you online. Thanks for joining again. Great discussion. Hopefully, it looks decent enough. I'm a definitely try what you said for the next one and see if that makes a difference. I'm sure it will, though. I'm sure. I already know it. But yeah, I'll do that for next time, and we can get these a little bit clearer for ourselves. All right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you around.
All right. I see.
Right.
All right.